Welcome to The Explainer. You know, we live so much of our lives online, but have you ever stopped to think about what's actually keeping all of our digital stuff safe? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain and get into the core concepts of cybersecurity. All right, so here's the plan. We're going to start with the absolute basics, like what even is system security? Then we'll get into the model the pros use to think about this stuff. After that, we'll talk about risk, how we actually prove we are who we say we are online, and wrap it up by looking at some of the nasty malware threats that are out there.
Okay, first things first. What are we even talking about when we say system security? I mean, it's easy to think it's just about putting up a firewall, right? But it's so much more than that. Think of it like building a digital fortress, one that's designed to hold up no matter what.
And here's the key thing to get. Security isn't just about stopping hackers. It's really about resilience. It's making sure a system can keep on doing what it's supposed to do, even when things go wrong. And things going wrong could be anything, you know? A major cyber attack, sure, but also something as simple as a hard drive failing. The goal is for the system to keep chugging along.
So, before you can protect anything, you've got to know what you're protecting. And in cybersecurity, it all boils down to one thing: data. Seriously, everything is data. That paper you're writing for class? Data. The movie you're streaming? Just a whole lot of data. Your photos? Data. At the end of the day, that's the treasure we're trying to keep safe.
Okay, so we've established we're protecting data. But how? Where do you even start? Well, lucky for us, the pros have a kind of master plan, a blueprint they use to think about this stuff. Let's take a look.
Now this might look pretty simple, but this chart is basically the key to the whole kingdom. It breaks security down into three fundamental pieces: what your information is like, where it is at any given moment, and what you do to protect it. Get how these three things connect, and you're already starting to think like a security expert.
And here's a really cool way to visualize it. As a cube, this is often called the McCumber Cube. Each side, each dimension of the cube represents one of those big ideas we just talked about. So, how does this all fit together? Let's break it down, dimension by dimension.
So, the first dimension is all about our goals. What are we trying to achieve? It comes down to three things, often called the CIA triad. No, not that CIA. We're talking confidentiality, keeping secrets secret, integrity, making sure the data is accurate and hasn't been messed with, and availability, making sure you can actually use your data when you need it. Simple, right?
All right, next dimension. This one is all about the state the data is in. Because data isn't just sitting still, right? It needs to be protected no matter what it's doing. So whether it's being actively crunched by your computer, that's processing, or just saved on your drive, that's storage, or even when it's zipping across the internet, that's transmission, it's vulnerable in every one of those states.
And for our final dimension, how do we actually do the protecting? This part is super important because it's not just about buying some fancy antivirus software. Real security is a team effort. You need good rules, that's your policy. You need smart people who know what to do, that's education. And of course, you need the right tools, that's your technology. You can't just have one or two, you absolutely need all three to work together.
So, when you put it all together, this cube is more than just a neat diagram. It's a powerful tool, like a checklist. You can point to any little block inside that cube and ask a super specific question, like, what technology are we using to protect the confidentiality of data while it's in transmission? See, it forces you to cover all your bases. Okay, so now we have our blueprint. But we live in the real world, right? And in the real world, you can't protect everything 100% of the time. It's just not possible. So you have to get smart about it. You have to figure out what the real dangers are and what you need to protect the most.
And that's where something called risk management comes in. Don't let the fancy term fool you. It's really just the process of figuring out what could go wrong, how bad it would be, and what you're going to go about it. It's all about looking at what you've got, your assets, what could hurt them, the threats, and where your weak spots are, your vulnerabilities. Then you make a plan.
And make no mistake, the stakes here are super high. When a security breach happens, it's not just some techie problem. We're talking about a company's reputation going down the drain, losing customers, getting hit with massive fines or lawsuits, and maybe worst of all, losing people's trust. That's something you might never get back.
So a huge piece of this whole risk puzzle is just making sure only the right people can get in. It's pretty simple, really. It's all about being a good bouncer for your digital world, guarding the gates to your important stuff.
So how do we do that?
Well, the gold standard for proving you are who you say you are is called strong authentication, and it boils down to three simple ideas. The best protection comes when you combine these: something you know, something you have, and something you are. Let's start with something you know. This is the one we're all familiar with, right? It's your password, your PIN number, maybe a secret passphrase. The whole security of this thing depends on one simple fact: that you, and only you, know the secret.
Okay, so that's something you know. Then there's something you have, like your phone, getting a text with a code, or a physical security key. And the third category, which is what we're looking at here, is something you are. This is biometrics. It's using your unique physical traits, things that are literally a part of you, like your face, your fingerprint, or even the palm of your hand.
But, as cool as biometrics are, they're not a perfect solution. I mean, they can be a little glitchy, right? A dirty finger can mess up a fingerprint scan. The tech itself is more expensive, and there's a really big privacy question here. Do we really want companies having databases full of our unchangeable biometric data, like our faces and fingerprints? It's definitely something to think about.
All right, so guarding the gates is a big deal. But what if the bad guys have ways to sneak past the guards? Or even worse, what if they can trick you into just opening the gate for them? Well, that's where malware comes in. And to fight it, you've got to know what you're up against.
So what is malware exactly? Well, this definition pretty much nails it. It's any program that's put on your system, usually sneakily, to mess things up. And the key word there is intent. This isn't just a program with a few bugs. No, malware is built on purpose to cause harm, whether that's stealing your data or just wrecking your day.
Okay, you've probably heard people talk about viruses and worms, maybe using the words interchangeably, but they're actually different. A virus is kind of like a parasite. It has to latch onto a normal file, like a Word doc, and it can't do anything until you open that file. A worm, though, a worm is independent. It's a self-spreading program that can wiggle its way through a network all on its own. No human help needed. And then you've got the Trojan horse. The name is perfect because it works exactly like the story from Greek mythology. It's a piece of software that looks totally harmless, maybe even useful, like a free game or some cool utility. You willingly download it and let it inside your digital walls, and then, bam! It unleashes its hidden, nasty payload. And this right here shows one of the scariest types of attacks out there, a DDoS, or Distributed Denial of Service attack. Here's how it works. A hacker quietly infects thousands, sometimes millions of computers, turning them into a secret zombie army. Then, with a flip of a switch, they order all those zombies to hammer a single target, say a website with endless requests. It's like a million people all trying to get through one door at the same time. The target gets totally overwhelmed and just shuts down. So, what's the big takeaway from all this? I think it's that cybersecurity is never done. It's not something you can just set up once and forget about. It's a constant process, right? You're always building your defenses, figuring out your risks, and trying to stay one step ahead of the threats. Which really brings us to the final and most personal question. Now that you know all this, how secure do you think your digital life really is?